Good morning, YouTube. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Okay. Alrighty. We are live. Hello, good morning. As you're hopping on live, say hello. If you're watching on replay, hashtag replay. Where'd everything go? All right. Oh, whoops. There we go. We're recording now. There we go. Anyways, I am going to be reading in Numbers today. We are on our last day of the week 6. I believe it's 14 through 16. 14 through 16. So as you're hopping on live, say hello. If you're watching on replay, hashtag replay. Yes, I'm sitting at my computer today. I'm hopping on a little late. I am doing some overtime for work, and I need a brain break because I've just been doing too much. So taking a brain break and reading because I forgot to read this morning. So yeah, just a second. Live on Facebook here. I hope y'all have some fun things planned for this weekend. We finish up our last little questionnaire training today. And then we're just waiting on our fingerprints to come back, and we'll be all set with our next journey of foster care adoption, which we're really excited about, to just grow our family and finally have it complete. So it's an exciting process and scary all at the same time, because we want to be the best parents we can be. So that is kind of what's going on there. And then like I mentioned, I'm working overtime today for a few hours until at least 12 o'clock. And then after that, I will see, after that, 6, probably go to Aldi and get our groceries, because we have no groceries now that we're back from vacation, and we have no groceries at all in our house. And so that's that. Because I have no groceries, I know it's already 8:30, but I get to have breakfast this morning. I'm probably going to go to McDonald's and see if they have, boys, come on. No. Probably going to go to, come here, Sammy, let me take your thing off. McDonald's and see if they have the steak, egg, and cheese bagel back. I heard that they have that back. If you know if they have that back or not, drop it in the comments, because I'm craving that this morning. I believe we are doing 14 through 16 today, right? I hope so, because that's what I put. We'll see here. I know I wrote it down. Yeah, 14 through 16. Perfect. All right. Good morning, Facebook. We are officially live on Facebook now as well. And so let's go ahead and pray and then we'll get started. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for today, Lord. I thank you for the ability to wake us up, for the ability to work, for the ability to just serve you in all the mighty ways, Father. I just lift up everyone who is hurting, who is going through some trials, maybe health issues, what have you, that they just see you in a mighty way, Lord. Show them you in a mighty way, that you are with them. Give them peace that passes no understanding. Show them the way that you have set out for them to walk. Show them that what they're going through is just one blimp of their testimony of you, Jesus. Father, as we read your word today, may we just be focused in on what it is you want us to see, hear, and understand. And I just pray all this in your precious and holy name, Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen. Amen. All right. So here we go. Happy Saturday. Any prayer requests, drop them below. If you have any fun plans, drop them below. If you know if McDonald's brought back the steak, egg, and cheese sandwich, drop it below. Okay. Now, all seriousness, let's read chapter 14, Numbers. Here we go. The whole community was in an uproar, wailing all night long. All the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The entire community was in it. Why didn't we die in Egypt? Or is this wilderness? Why has God brought us to this country to kill us? Our wives and children are about to become plunder. Why don't we just head back to Egypt and right now? Soon they'll all be saying to one another, let's pick a new leader and head back to Egypt. Moses and Aaron fell on their faces in front of the entire community and gathered an emergency session. Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephthah, members of the scouting party, ripped their clothes and dressed and assembled the people of Israel. The land we walked through and scouted out is very good and very good indeed. If God is pleased with us, he will lead us into the land that flows, and they say with milk and honey, and he'll give it to us. Don't rebel against God, and don't be afraid of those people. Why, we'll have them for lunch. They have no protection, and God is on our side. Don't be afraid of them. But up in arms now, and the entire community was talking and hurling stones at them. Just then, the bright glory of God appeared at the tent of meeting. Every Israelite saw it, and God said to Moses, how long will these people treat me like dirt? How long refuse to trust me? And with all these signs I have done among them, I've had enough. I'm going to hit them with the plague and kill them. But they'll make you into a nation bigger and stronger than they ever were. But Moses said to God, the Egyptians are going to hear about this. You delivered this people from Egypt with a great show of strength, and now this. The Egyptians will tell everyone, they've already heard that you are God, that you are on the side of this people, that you are present among them, and they see you with their own eyes in your cloud that hovers over them, in the pillar of the cloud that leads them by day, and pillar and fire at night. If you kill this entire people in one stroke, all the nations that have heard what you have been going on will say, since God couldn't get these people into the land in which he had promised to give them, he slaughtered them out in the wilderness. Now please let the power of the Master expand and enlarge itself greatly, along the lines you have laid out earlier when you said, God's slow slow to get angry, and huge in love, forgiving iniquity and rebellion and sin, still never just whitewashing sin, but extending a fallout of parents' sin to children into the third, even fourth generation. Please forgive the wrongdoing of the people out of the extravagance of your loyal love, and just as all along from the time they left Egypt, you have been forgiving people, God said. I forgive them, honoring your word. But as I live, and as the glory of God fills the whole earth, not a single person of those who saw my glory saw miracle signs I did in Egypt and the wilderness, and who have tested me over and over again, turning a deaf ear to me. Not one of them will set their eyes on the land, so the solemnly promised to their ancestors. No one who has treated me with such a repeated contempt will see. But my servant Caleb, this is a different story. He has a different spirit. He follows me passionately. I'll bring him into the land that he scouted, and his children will inherit it. Since the Amalekites and Canaanites were so well established in the valleys, but right now, change course and head back to the wilderness. Follow the route to the Red Sea. God spoke to Moses and Aaron. How long is this going to go on? All this grumbling against me and the evil infested community. I've had my fill of complaints from these grumbling Israelites. Tell them, as I live, God decree, here's what I'm going to do. Your corpses are going to litter the wilderness. Everyone of you 20 years and older who has counted in the census, this whole generation of grumblers and gousers. Not one of you will enter the land and make your hope there to firmly and solemnly promised land, except for Caleb, son of Jephthah, and Joshua, son of Nun. Your children, the very ones you said would take for plunder. I'll bring in to enjoy the land you rejected, where your corpse will be rotting in the wilderness. These children of yours will live as shepherds in the wilderness for 40 years, living with the fallout of your whoring unfaithfulness, until the last of your generation lies a corpse in the wilderness. You scouted out the land for 40 days, 40 nights. Your punishment will be a year for each, and a 40-year sentence to serve your sins, a long schooling in my displeasure. I, God, have spoken. I will most certainly carry out these things against your entire evil fested. What do you have? How do you have that? Give it to me. Give it. How do you have a sock? I don't know. This is my life, guys. One second, please. Okay. Apologize for that minor interruption. I had to take him over to my husband. Says, I, God, have spoken. I will most certainly carry out these things against the entire evil infested community which has band together against me. In the wilderness, they have come out to their end. They will die. So it happens that the men Moses sent to scout out the land, returning to circulate false rumors about the land, causing the entire community to grumble against Moses. All these men died. Having spread false rumors of the land, they died in a plague. Confronted by God, only Joshua, son of Nun, Caleb, son of Jephthah, were left alive, and the men who went out to scout the land. When Moses was told of all this, the people of Israel They mourned long and hard, but early the next morning, they started out on the high hill country saying, "We're here. We're ready. Let's go up and attack the land that God promised us. We sinned, but now we're ready." But Moses said, "Why are you crossing God's command yet again? This won't work. Don't attack. God isn't, aren't you in this?" God isn't with you in this. You'll be beaten badly by your enemies. The Amalekites and the Canaanites are ready for you, and they'll kill you because you have left off the obediently following God, and God is going to be with you in this. But they went away recklessly and arrogantly, climbing to the high hill country. But the chest of the covenant and Moses didn't plunge from the camp, and the Amorites and the Canaanites who lived in the hill country came out of the hills and attacked and beat them a rout all the way down to Hamorah. God spoke to Moses, "Speak to the people of Israel. Tell them when you enter the homeland that I am giving you, sacrifice a fire gift to God, a whole burnt offering, or any sacrifice from the herd, flock, and the vow, or a vow offering, or freewill offering at one of the appointed feasts, and a pleasing fragrance for God. One bringing the offering shall present to God a grain offering of 2 quarts of fine flour mixed with quart of oil. With each lamb for the whole burnt offering and the other sacrifice, prepared a quart of oil, a quart of wine as a drink offering. For a ram, prepare a grain offering of 4 quarts of fine flour mixed with 1 quart of oil and 1 quarter quarts of wine as a drink offering, presented to the pleasing fragrance to God. When you prepare a young bull as a whole burnt offering or a sacrifice for a special vow or peace offering to God, bring the bull a grain offering of 6 quarts of fine flour, 2 quarts of oil, and then bring 2 quarts of wine as a drink offering. It will be a fire gift, a pleasing fragrance to God. Each bull or ram, each lamb, or young goat is to be prepared in the same way. Carry out the procedure for each one, no matter how many you have to prepare. Every native-born Israelite is to follow this procedure when he brings a fire gift or pleasing fragrance to God. In future generations, when a foreigner or a visitor living length amongst the presents a fire gift as pleasing fragrance to God, and the same procedures must be followed. The community has the same rules for you and the foreigners living among you. This is a regular rule for future generations. You and the foreigner are the same before God. The same laws and regulations apply to both of you and the foreigners who live with you. God spoke to Moses, "Speak to the people of Israel. Tell them when you enter the land into which I'm bringing you, and you eat the food that country, and set aside an offering for God from the first batch of the bread dough, making the round loaf for an offering from the thresh floor down through the future generations, making this offering to God from each first batch of dough." Moses, from the time that God first commanded you right up to the present time, if it is happening more or less by mistake with the congregation unaware of it, then the whole congregation is to sacrifice 1 young bull as a whole burnt offering, a pleasing fragrance to God, accompanied by its grain offering and drink offering, as stipulated in the rules, and as he-goat as an ablution offering. The priest is to atone for the entire community of the people of Israel, and they will stand forgiven. The sin will not deliberate, and all offerings to God as a fire gift and absolution offering for their adversaries. The whole community of Israel, including the foreigners living there, will be absolved, because everyone that was involved in the air. But it's just one person who sins by mistake, not realizing what he's doing. He is bringing a yearling she-goat as an absolution offering to the priest, and then is atoned for the person who accidentally sinned to make an atonement before God, so that it won't be held against him. The same standard holds for everyone who sins by mistake to the native-born Israelites, and foreigners go by the same rules. But the person, native or foreigner, who sins defiantly, desperately, deliberately, blaspheming God, must be cut off from his people. He has despised God's word and he has violated God's command. That person must be kicked out of the community and ostracized, left alone in his wrongdoing. Once during those wilderness years of the people of Israel, a man was caught gathering wood on Sabbath. The one who caught him hauled him before Moses and Aaron and the entire congregation. They put him in the custody until it became clear what to do with him. God spoke to Moses, "Give the man the death penalty. Yes, kill him." The whole community hurling stones at him outside the camp. So the whole community took him outside the camp and threw stones at him in execution commanded by God, given through Moses. God spoke to Moses, "Speak to the people of Israel. Tell them that from now on they are to make tassels on the corners of their garments, to mark each corner tassel with a blue thread. When you look at these tassels, you'll remember and keep all the commandments of God, and not get distracted by everything you feel or see that seduces you into infidelities. The tassels will signal remembrance and observance of all my commandments, to live the holy life to God. I am your God who rescued you from the land of Egypt to be your personal God. Yes, I am God, your God." Getting in the high horse one day, Korah, son of Azar, the son of Kalas, and the son of Levi, along with the Reubenites, Dathan and Abiram, son of Elabab, and son of Peleth, rebelled against Moses. He had him with 250 leaders, and the congregation of Israel promised men with positions in the council. They came as a group and confronted Moses and Aaron, saying, "You've overstepped yourself. This entire community is holy, and God is in the midst. So why you act like you're running the whole show?" On hearing this, Moses threw himself face down on the ground. Then he addressed Korah, his gang. In the morning, God will make clear who is on his side, who is holy. God will take his stand with the one he chooses. Now, Korah, here is what I want you to do. You and your gang to do. Tomorrow, take censers in the presence of God. Put the fire in them, and then incense. Then we'll see who is holy. See whom God chooses. Sons of Levi, you've overstepped yourselves. Moses continued with Korah, "Listen well now, sons of Levi. Isn't it enough for you that God of Israel has selected you out of the congregation of Israel to bring you near and serve in the ministries of the dwelling of God, to stand before the congregation, to minister them? And he has brought you and your brother Levites into the inner circle. And now you're grasping for the priesthood too. It's God you've ganged up against, not us. What to do you have against Aaron, that you're bad-mouthing him?" Moses then ordered Dathan, the Abiram, sons of Elabab, to appear, but they said, "We're not coming. Isn't it enough that you yanked us out of the land flowing with you milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, and now you keep trying to boss us around. Face it, you haven't brought us into the land flowing with milk and honey, and you haven't given us the promised inheritance of the fields and the vineyards. You have to poke out your eyes. To keep us from seeing what's going on. Forget it, we're not coming. Moses' temper blazed white hot. He said to God, don't accept their grain offering. I haven't taken so much as a single donkey from them. I haven't hurt a single hair of their heads. Moses said to Korah, bring your people before God tomorrow. Appear there with them and Aaron. Have each man bring his censer lifted with incense and present it to God, and all 250 censers. And you and Aaron do the same. Bring your censers. And they did it. No. I think he's getting into my suitcase. That's fabulous. Side note. Dog mom life. Okay. It was Korah and his gang against Moses and Aaron at the entrance of the tent meeting. The entire community could see the glory of God. God said to Moses and Aaron, separate yourselves from the congregation so that I can finish them off and be done with them. They threw themselves on their faces and said, oh God, God of everything living, when one man sins, are you going to take it out in the whole community? God spoke to Moses, speak to the community, tell them to back off from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Moses got up and went to Dathan and Abiram. The leaders of the Israel followed them. He then spoke to the community, back off from the tents of these bad men. Don't touch a thing that belongs to them, lest you be carried off on the flood of their sins. So they all backed away from the tents of Korah and Dathan and Abiram. Dathan and Abiram by now have come out and were standing at the entrance of their tents with their wives and children and babies. Moses continued to address the community. This is how you'll know that it was God who sent me to do all these things, and that it wasn't anything I cooked up on my own. If these men die a natural death like the rest of us, you'll know it wasn't God who sent me. But if God does something unprecedented, if the grounds open up and swallow the lot of them, and they are pinched alive into Sheol, then you will know these men have insolence with God. The words were hardly out of their mouth when the earth split open. The earth opened its mouth and in one gulp swallowed them down. The men and their families, all human beings connected with Korah, along with everything they owned, and the end of them pinched alive in Sheol. The earth closed up over them, and was the last the community heard of them. At the sound of their cries, everyone ran for dear life, shouting, we're about to be swallowed up alive. Then God sent lightning and fire, cremated the 200 men who were offering the incense. God spoke to Moses, tell Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, gather up the censers from the smoldering cinders and scatter the coals in distance away from the censers. Become holy. Take the censers of the men who have sinned and are now dead and hammer them into thin sheets of covering the altar. They have been offered to God and are holy to God. Let them serve as a sign of Israel, evidence of what happened to this day. So Ezra gathered all the bronze censers that belonged to those who had been burned up, and had them hammered flat and used to overlay the altars. just as God had instructed him by Moses. This was to serve as a sign to Israel, and the only descendants of Aaron were allowed to burn up, like Korah and his gang. Grumbling broke out on the next day in the community of Israel, grumbling against Moses and Aaron. You have killed God's people. So it happened that when the community got together against Moses and Aaron, they looked over the tent meeting, and there was a cloud, the glory of God for all to see. Moses and Aaron stood at the front of the tent meeting. God spoke to Moses, "Back away from the congregation so that I can deal with them this very minute." They threw themselves face down on the ground. Moses said to Aaron, "Take your censer and fill it with incense along with the fire from the altar. Get to the congregation as fast as you can. Make an atonement for them. Anger is pouring out of God, and the plague has started." Aaron grasped a censer and was directed by Moses and ran into the middle of the congregation. "The plague has already begun." He put burning incense in the censer and atoned for the people. He stood there between the living and the dead and stopped the plague. 14,700 people died from the plague, not counting those who died in the affair of Korah. Aaron then went back to join Moses at the entrance of the tent meeting. The plague stopped. All right, and that's the end of chapter 16. We'll pick up at chapter 17 on Monday. I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed Saturday, as well as Sabbath on Sunday. And I look forward to seeing y'all on Monday. So many blessings, and don't forget to drop in the chat what your plans are this weekend, and how I can be praying